how to read minds in fights. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down some clips from Arena, and hopefully by the end of this, fighting in Fortnite will be a little bit easier for you. Without further ado, let's hop into it. Now I said these clips are from Arena, but this first clip is from a scrim. Ken hit a big shot on one of these guys, so I pushed forward, but the enemy gets the wall right in front of me here. Now let's think, if we're the enemy here, what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to edit forward and box your opponent, right? So what I do is I back up out of the box, place the wall in front of me before he can get it, and then I edit a safe peek from outside the box. Sure enough, the enemy did try to run forward and piece control me, and I was able to get a big shot on him. And now we have both the enemies weak, so we just charged forward and took them both out. It's helpful to try to think what you would do in the situation if you were the enemy. So let's look at this next clip, which is very similar. I used my sword and accidentally was right outside this guy's box. I assume he's going to try to immediately edit on me, and it looked like he was doing that. You can see he has his builds out and he's running forward. So I kept my gun pointed at him while I backed up out of the box. Once I'm out of the box, I place a cone in that box in case he still runs forward into there. But he saw the trap and changed his mind. But now think about it. He just tried to immediately run at me as soon as I was on his wall. So what do? I go immediately against his other wall. Knowing that his first instinct was to run at me, I assume he's going to do that again. So I pretend I'm up against this wall, but I'm really off to the side. And then I was able to put a cone in the box and set up a right hand peek, and he just sprinted right in. It's a pattern. He tried to run at me once, why wouldn't he do it again? This next clip is along similar lines, but this time the opponent caught me off guard. I'm pressuring safely here, but I see he backs up into the building. I go for a quick wall take because this wall was one shot, but turns out he was baiting me and he was actually on the ramp. You can't build a wall in between us, so I know he's just gonna charge right in. In this situation, my first instinct is get off to the side, because if he's running into my box and I make it off to the side, I can set up a right hand peek from the outside, just like in the last clip. Sure enough, it worked like a charm. I read his mind, knew he was charging in, did a quick play, got off to the side, right hand peek, I win that every time. Now a little sidetrack from Arena, but this clip builds off that idea pretty well. I was 1v1ing Ken Beans, and right here, I set up a right hand peek and start pressuring his floor. I realized there's only two ways he can counter me here. He can either edit the floor and take a shot, or he could mantle up. So what I do is I reset my cone and back up, waiting to see which one he's gonna do. As soon as I hear him mantling, I immediately set up a right hand peek, full box him, and finish the fight. It's important to take time in your fights like I did there, where I just back up, make sure I'm fully protected from every angle, and read the enemy, see what he's doing. In all of these clips, I saw the enemy pushing forward, so I back up and get him full boxed in all of these clips so far. But let's move on to a different type of clip. Right here, Ken Beans and I are pressuring a solo. Notice how at this point in the fight, Ken Beans and I are pressuring from the same side. You gotta think, if you're the enemy here, you're not gonna charge at the duo. You're gonna try to create some distance and go out the back. That's why instead of pressuring the same side as Ken, I immediately go to pre-box the other side, reading the enemy's mind and getting the kill. That's a good concept in duos, trying to get the enemy to reposition towards your teammate, setting up traps from two different angles. If you don't do that, the fight could go on for so long. This is something I've been doing a lot more in my gameplay this season. In this situation, I let Ken believe he's about to get a free shot on me, but I'm hoping that he makes an edit, simply because once he makes an edit, I can immediately shoot his wall and take it back, and he won't even have time to get a shot off. In this clip, I somehow pre-fired him and took the wall at the same time, but I do that idea a lot, where I'm simply trying to bait them to make an edit on me so that I can get their wall and make an edit on them. But disclaimer, this only works on brick and metal walls when they're not fully built. If this brick wall was fully built and he made an edit, it wouldn't be one shot. In this fight, I'm building up to my opponent and I see the ramp over top of me. So I swing high walls up just in case he was looking to take a shot on me, and it gives me piece control on a layer up. But look, he's standing right against my wall here with his pump out. If you're in the enemy situation here, what are you doing? You're looking for a pre-fire. So what I do is I make a wide edit, allowing him a chance to pre-fire me, or so he thinks. But I immediately reset that edit, so then he shoots my wall and I can pre-fire his pre-fire. Of course, I build the wall immediately after taking my shot, and then I get the full piece control around him and finish the fight with a right hand peek. A lot of players in Arena will simply sit there with their gun out waiting for you to make a bad edit, because a lot of people in the community make bad edits rather than right hand peeks. So yeah, this is a good counter to that. There was someone hiding somewhere in this build fight, so I'm just safely pressuring different parts of this build fight, and eventually I find him. I missed my shot here, which was a choke, but this enemy enemy, when he sees I get his top, what do you think he's gonna do? He can either take back the floor or he's gonna run out the side. So what I do to counter him is I race to the side and try to get the wall in front of him before he gets out. Sure enough, he was trying to run out here and he just smacked into my wall. So then he's just gonna try to run the other direction and I get him to smack into another wall. Now this is a funny situation. I take this wall to my left and I set up a right-hand peek and I see him on the other side of the wall here. I'm getting sprayed from the distance, but I'm hugging my right-hand peek, so if the enemy edits on me, I can take a shot still. I'm pulling out my pickaxe, trying to bait him to make an edit, and I realize he is literally doing nothing except for trying to pre-fire me. So I smack the wall once and then pretend to smack it again. This causes him to shoot his own wall, and then I simply take the wall, edit, and get a free shot on him. After I get that crazy health advantage, I simply charge forward with the pulse rifle, and I almost choked it here, but we still got the kill. This is one of my favorite ways to pressure an opponent. I'm sticking far away and trying to read the enemy. What type of player is he? I place a ramp in his box when I break the wall instead of going for the wall itself. Immediately after getting the ramp in, you see I try to pre-box out his back, but the enemy didn't even budge. So this time I go for the wall and the ramp. I missed my shot, but we restart pressuring on low ground. Look at what I do here. I shoot the wall and then pickaxe it. That way I can break the wall at the fastest rate possible. I go for the wall and ramp again, but this time I only get the ramp. But if you look at this from the enemy point of view, it probably looks like I got both the wall and the ramp because it's both brick. So that's how I knew he was going to reposition. So I pre-box out his side and I'm able to get the builds around him. At that point, the fight is 100% in my hands. Now this was a crazy play. I'm a solo in duos dying to the storm trying to pop a medkit, but the enemies interrupted it. Now if you're the enemy here, you're thinking I gotta get in as fast as possible so that I don't miss the opportunity to get this kill, otherwise he'll die to storm. So I know they're gonna be playing over aggressive. So I'm patient. I wait for the enemies to drop down because that's my only hope. As soon as he does, I go for the quick 2-pump combo. Got it, but I know his teammate's gonna be jumping in right after. So I flip up the cone because he's probably gonna be running in from that back angle. I get my full kill to get the siphon and then immediately get out of there and get a different angle. He's in all of my builds at this point. They got way too aggressive, so all I had to do was set up safe peeks from the outside. And then right at the end here, it was one of those situations where the enemy is just holding their gun out. So I make the edit where I'm exposed and then reset it and they shoot my wall, I shoot them. To start this clip, I did exactly what everybody else had been doing to me in this video. I held my gun out and waited for the enemy to make a bad peek. That's how I got the health advantage here, but Ken went down in this fight, meaning I'm in another 1v2 situation. If I kept on trying to jump the guy that I got weak, his teammate would have just jumped in immediately after and finished me off. So I wait for this guy's teammate to jump in because he's trying to rescue his teammate's life. His teammate is weak. So for that reason, I know he's going to be playing a little bit too aggressive. I hear him dropping on my wall here, so I build the wall and set up a right-hand peek immediately to counter. I do this a lot because now he's right on my wall. I have the freest peek. Now the reason the piece control immediately after that first shot works is because this. Right after I took that shot, my left wall was open. So he's trying to piece control that left wall and get a peek from the side. What I do is I immediately counter piece by placing that wall to the left of me, and then I piece control the enemy. But at the end of the day, this whole clip worked out because I had his teammate weak, and this guy was jumping in over aggressively trying to save his teammate. Now I just wanted to throw this last clip in because I thought it was funny. This guy was breaking the floor. And what I do is crouch walk against the floor, so then I phase right through it, and I just bodied him. Nobody's taking my vault from me. I hope this video helped you guys out in some kind of way. I try to make these as easy to understand as possible. Let me know what you thought down below. More content coming soon. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.